You don't have to take bad advice for it to still hurt your relationship. Sometimes just staying close to it long enough is enough. This wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic, it wasn't explosive, but it was one of the most damaging mistakes I've made in my marriage. And the hardest part is it didn't happen because I wanted to leave. It happened while I was trying to understand, protect, and make things better. I want to say this clearly before anything else. I'm not here to tell anyone how to run their relationship. I'm not here to give advice or instructions. This channel isn't about telling you what to do. It's about walking through real situations honestly and noticing where things quietly go wrong. If something here helps you recognize a pattern sooner than I did, that's the point. I also want to be very clear about my intentions at the time. I never approached my husband about divorce. I never wanted to leave my marriage. I loved and I still love my husband deeply. An exit was not something I was seeking. What I was seeking was clarity, support, understanding. I wanted to help navigating a difficult season, not permission to leave. Here's where and what I went wrong with. During that time, I spent a lot of time around people who were not invested in the growth of my marriage, but they were invested in this idea of separation. Some of them openly suggested divorce. Others framed it as subtly starting over, choosing yourself, or you deserve more. Most of that advice didn't sit right with me. And to be clear, I rejected it. But what I didn't understand then is that rejection doesn't mean immunity. Doubt doesn't usually enter as a decision, it enters as questions. Questions like, is this normal? Should this be easier? Or why does it feel so hard? And when those questions are reinforced repeatedly, even passively, they begin to shape how you interpret everything else. Not because you believe them, but because they're familiar. Even though I didn't act on the advice, the exposure mattered. Second guessing started creeping in. Distrust didn't show up as accusations, it showed up as hesitation. Tone changed, reaction changed, emotional safety shifted. And none of it felt intentional, which made it harder to see. That uncertainty didn't stay contained, it bled into my marriage. Not because I wanted to leave, but because trust is incredibly sensitive to atmosphere. When you spend time in spaces where separation is normalized, even subtly, it changes how you show up, whether you realize it or not. That created a rift between me and my husband. Repairing that rift took time and humility. Looking back, the real lesson wasn't about rejecting advice. It was about something I didn't understand at the time: guarding proximity. Guarding proximity is not about cutting people off. It's not about isolating yourself or living in an echo chamber. It's about being intentional with who has repeated access to your thoughts during vulnerable moments. Because repeated access creates influence, whether you agree or not. Here's what I wish I had understood: not every person who listens to you should influence you. Not every supportive sounding voice is safe. And not every environment that feels validating is actually stabilizing. Some spaces feel good in the moment, but destabilize you over time. For me, guarding proximity would have looked like this: stepping back from conversations where separation was treated as the solution, limiting how often I process vulnerable moments in emotionally charged spaces, recognizing that even when I disagreed, repeated exposure still mattered. Because doubt doesn't need permission, it just needs room. I wasn't failing because I believed the advice. I was failing because I stayed in environments that benefited from doubt. And that's a hard thing to admit because those environments often feel supportive. What I should have done was protect the environment my marriage was trying to heal in. I should have paid attention not just to what I accepted, but to what I allowed consistent access to my thinking. The relationship didn't need more opinions, it needed less interference. And this is what really this channel is about. It's not about blaming partners, it's not about labeling people or telling you to leave. It's about understanding the quiet dynamics that shape relationships, especially during conflict. The things that don't feel dramatic enough to address until they are. This channel is for people who want clarity, not chaos, for people who want to understand patterns instead of repeating them, for people who are trying to build, not burn down, and for people who know that not all harm comes from bad intentions. If this idea of guarding proximity is resonating with you, I created a short reflection guide you can download for free. It helps you identify which voices and spaces are influencing your thinking during vulnerable moments. There's no advice in it, just structured reflection. The link is in the description. Had I guarded proximity sooner, I don't think distrust would have had room to take root. And I don't think repair would have taken as long. And I don't think confusion would have lingered the way that it did. This was a turning point for me. Not because I almost left, but because I learned how easily a relationship can be affected by who you allow near it. In the future, I'll continue breaking down moments like this, honestly and quietly, so we can see where things actually go wrong. If this kind of reflection is something you want more of, I'd love for you to subscribe. You're not alone in this. Sometimes the problem isn't the relationship, it's the room that you're sitting in.